So at lunchtime, sometimes the students may not eat much of their lunch because they're overly sensitive to the way it tastes on their tongue, or in certain circumstances they might not eat things out of order because they have to taste their pudding before they eat their apple, and if they do it in a different order, it'll kind of mess with their taste buds. Along with that, they may be apprehensive to try new things, so that could be another reason why they don't eat much of their lunch, because perhaps they tried something beforehand and they didn't like it. If they see something that looks similar to what they tried before and didn't like, they in turn won't try it because it reminds them and is similar to them. There's that schema of the thing before that they did not like. Another sensory difficulty involved could be their vision. Sometimes lights are too bright. In Walmart, I know that my eyes sometimes hurt whenever I'm walking around in Walmart. To someone who has hypersensitivity, to lights could really struggle in Walmart. So times you can provide sunglasses to those children. Also with kids who are struggling with sounds, you can provide headphones to kind of block out the sounds, loud sounds. And then we have smell. So some people with autism might be sensitive to candles, air fresheners you could have in the classroom, and even hand sanitizers. So if you have a really strongly scented hand sanitizer that, say, smells like cupcakes, you might want to avoid using that in your room if you know that you have a student that can become or hypersensitive to that smell. So some of the treatment and interventions that have been mentioned when discussing autism, there's two different kinds, just like when we're talking about causation. There are pseudoscientific treatments that do not provide any underlying proof and are not evidence-based or research-based practices. Some of those are biomedical treatments, such as diets. I know some parents put their children on gluten-free or casein-free diets because they think that it will help their stomachs to not have any digestive problems, which then in turn results in the decrease of certain symptoms or stimming or behaviors. Supplements such as vitamins and pharmaceuticals, so actual drugs. And this often takes place whenever a student is comorbid, so that would mean they have more than one disability, including autism. And in some cases, pharmaceuticals can help. So an example of ADHD has been proven to help, but just with autism, no, there has not been proof that pharmaceuticals is a known treatment. Chelation therapy, which is similar to dialysis, so it is considered the cleansing of the blood and taking out the quote-unquote impurities that are in the blood of someone who has autism. So they kind of go to this therapist and they take out their blood amongst filtering it and then put it right back in. So it's kind of a long process. It's a medical process that could be potentially very dangerous, along with biomedical treatments. Going off of that is hyperbaric oxygen therapy. This pressurizes the oxygen around the lungs or the body. So you're in another medical treatment. You're in a room and they differ the oxygen levels around you, sometimes making it more pressurized or less pressurized. And it's thought that this difference in oxygen allows the autism and the autism symptoms to decrease. Facilitated communication has been disproven to work. That was whenever they were provided a type of keyboard to utilize and had a facilitator holding onto their arms or their hands helping them to type when it was the whole time, consciously or subconsciously, the facilitator typing for them the entire time. So that is proven to not work. And weighted vests. At times, if you have a sensory difficulty, wearing the weighted vest can help with hyposensitive behaviors. However, a weighted vest is not a direct treatment for autism, nor is it a reliable treatment to keep all behaviors adapted, or a student to exhibit all desired behaviors. A weighted vest cannot provide all of that for you. So some evidence-based practices that are known to work are ABA, which is Applied Behavior Analysis. So we already mentioned that it is most important to watch our students' behavior and observe them. So with discrete trial training, tongue twister, students are able to practice repetitive learning and direct instruction from the teacher to learn new skills. So say they're learning hand washing. First, the teacher would demonstrate it, then they would demonstrate the skill and the entire task analysis of the skill in order with their hands on that child, so doing it with them, then slowly taking away each step and allowing that person to do one step at a time independently until eventually they are able to do it all by themselves. So having a bunch of trials to do that. Another aspect of ABA is recognizing desired behaviors, so target behaviors, and replacing the undesired behaviors with those target behaviors. So this happens often with ABC, which is antecedent, behavior, and consequence. So first you need to examine what is the behavior that they're exhibiting, what you want the new target behavior to be. Then you have to analyze what the antecedent is. So what in the environment is causing this behavior to happen? So the antecedent is right before the behavior. And then the consequence. What happens after the behavior? What does the teacher do, or what does the student get to do, or get to run away from, that reinforces this behavior to keep happening again and again? And then once you analyze all those three things, you can come up with, well, that's your functional analysis. Then you can come up with your own intervention and plan in place to try and mold those behaviors to the desired behavior. So changing the environment at times, changing what the consequences, different things work for different students in different situations. A token economy, which is pictured above, where they have they get a reward. So in the above picture, they have 6 numbers they have to get through. So say they do something outstanding, they get a 1. The next time they complete their work, they get a 2. And then once they complete all 6, they get the reward, which would be on the yellow box, and it says, what am I working for? So kind of working for a specific reward. Modeling and video modeling certain behaviors or skills. Task analysis, having a written down list of tasks that you need to complete, or even with pictures. If someone has trouble reading, then they can even check it off throughout the day, or put a picture on the task once they had completed it, or vice versa, remove the picture from the task once they have completed it. Schedules and routines are very consistent and easy to follow. PECs, which are Picture Exchange Communication Systems, can oftentimes be used in task analysis and be given to teachers by the student. So if, say, someone wants a chocolate bar, they can bring them the picture of the chocolate bar instead of needing to orally and verbally communicate. And PECs can also be used in answering comprehension questions, creating a story, multiple uses for that. And social validity is an important thing that I wanted to mention with the treatment interventions. A lot of interventions are put into place to conform their behaviors to be more socially valid. So it's the significance of these treatment objectives. So why is it important that we are teaching this skill? Why is it important that we are molding this behavior? Why should we change this behavior? Why is it undesired? So going through the social validity, why will us as teachers adapting that student's behavior make them more socially valid? And why is it important? Now, I know I mentioned examples of autistic support rooms. Students who have autism could also be put in a special education classroom with students who are intellectually disabled, because, like I said, they could be comorbid. So yes, students with autism can require special education and an IEP. However, many of them can be mainstreamed and in the general education classroom, and even without an IEP if their severity levels are low. We'll come to that in the next slide when I talk about savants. But you mainly need to know your children, know your students, know their needs, and what their symptoms are. Going off of that, a lot of people will wonder, what kind of jobs can someone with autism have? Based on their likes, ability levels, and do not be afraid to aim high and challenge them. Whether they like repetition or routines, you can kind of base a job off of that. If the severity level is low, they could hold any job. You could have autism and be a doctor. But for people with high severity levels, stuffing envelopes in a mailroom is pretty routine. Working in an office to make photocopies. There are many opportunities in the community. And the future of autism. Can someone outgrow autism? Is there a cure? No. The behaviorist point of view of autism is that one can never outgrow autism. You have autism and you will the rest of your life. However, you can be analyzed and adapt by shaping and manipulating your behaviors and gaining new skills. There is hope for a cure. However, with the lack of causation right now, I mean, it could be a while before anyone comes up with a cure. However, working to improve technologies can allow for a possible cure to come up soon. So while us as teachers, we can hope for a cure, but we work for modifications of behaviors, improving etiology development, and providing great interventions so that our children can learn the best they can. And just some fun facts about autism. Like I mentioned before, they can be comorbid, meaning that a person with autism can have more than one disorder or disability at once. So someone could have autism and also have ADHD. That would be comorbid. There are savants. So about 10% of those with autism have savant abilities, which means that they have a really high IQ and have the ability to do things that neurotypicals cannot. And less than 1% of people in the non-autistic population have savant ability. So it's more common to be a savant when you have autism than it is to not. Monday, April 2nd is World Autism Awareness Day. In schools, we use person-first language, so a student or a person who has autism. And one question I'm going to leave for you to end this presentation is, after all you know now, why do you think the puzzle piece is the logo for autism? There is no wrong or right answer, just using your knowledge. Why do you think that they selected that? And here are some references of what I used, tools I used to create this PowerPoint. I hope you learned a lot, and I look forward to answering any questions that you have regarding autism. Thank you.